So back in January 2019, I was lucky enough to go to a friend's wedding in Mumbai. And for anybody that hasn't been to India, it's an incredible place that will give you some amazing memories. I was lucky enough to experience that myself, one of which was on an afternoon that I had with today's guest, Alejandro. We jumped on a train and just decided to get off at whichever stop we thought was best. We ended up taking part in a religious cooking ceremony with some of the local people. And it was during that experience that I learned a lot about Alejandro. Things about his view on life, his curiosity with travelling, and just how he's an all-round warm human being. And it's his experiences and outlook on life that we'd like to share with you on this episode.
But if you go and connect with someone and you see how they feel and they talk to you and you realize they're human, they have feelings, they have families, they have dreams, broken dreams, and you find a way to help them, you find a purpose.
I'm Jake Worley, and this is One of the Eight, bringing you the real-life stories of real-world people, the things they have achieved and the things that have inspired them. I'm here with my good friend Alejandro Hidalgo, is the right way to say it?
Yeah, that's correct.
Hailing from Costa Rica. He's a traveller, a creator, a connector, and a doer. Welcome.
I was born in Costa Rica.
Okay.
But I always tell people I'm from everywhere because that's how I feel. But I spent a lot of time in the States, so I think I have a lot of that culture as well. But I feel like everywhere you go, you just get pieces, and that's who you are. You're not really like where you were born, but more like, what you learn.
Okay. So we spoke a little bit earlier today about originally from Costa Rica, but you moved to the US when you were 22?
Yeah.
What was the reason to move?
Life.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Opportunities, things to avoid in Costa Rica?
I feel like you just don't plan it. Like it just happens and you just go with it. And I didn't really plan it. I just did it. And I didn't really think about it, to be honest, and I just left.
So was it university? Was it work? What took you there?
It was after school. I was already done with school. I was actually already working, and somebody offered me a job. And when I arrived, it was actually a lie. So
okay,
that was the beginning. Yeah.
So you kind of got dropped in the US and thought, this isn't what I was expecting on arrival.
I could have left, but at the time, I just thought, well, I already left everything else, so I might as well just try it, and I did.
Okay, so what was your first proper full-time job in the US? What was it you were doing?
I started just doing freelance. So I was doing marketing and web design, graphic design, photography, anything related to being creative. And I didn't really do like a full-time job. It was more like just freelance. And I finally got a full-time job like 6 years later. So I did freelance for a long time.
Okay. And what happened 6 years later? Who was the company?
That big company. They just randomly found my resume, and it was actually really interesting because I didn't really apply for the job. They just called me, and my resume at the time had a lot of illustrations that I did on basically vector files, which is basically Adobe Illustrator.
Okay. So
the lady kept asking me if I did my resume, and I'm like, yeah, I did it. So she's like, so you're an illustrator? And I said, no.
Wow.
So she's like, but you have an illustration on your resume? And I'm like, yeah. But I'm not an illustrator. So I thought she was like asking me if I could draw.
Okay. And
I didn't really get it. So
right.
I don't know. I got off topic.
That's okay. So that company you worked for a good while. Mm-hmm. Then I guess your vision, kind of what motivated you in life, that changed a little bit. Once you left that company, what came next?
So I think I took that job because when you see a big name, you feel like that's where you have to go. And that's basically what people tell you need to follow, like a big name or just stability. And I'm not going to say that it was wrong because I think I learned a lot about myself, about the things that I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
And then after that, when I quit, I didn't really have a plan. I just had some ideas about things that I wanted to do, but I didn't really have a plan. So, I quit, I traveled, and then as I was traveling, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I realized that I love to work with people. I think I'm really good at finding talents, and
Yep.
and I think that's what I'm really good at. Like when people ask me, "What's your talent?" I thought it was maybe like doing photography, but I think it's just finding the right people to do the right things.
Yep.
So then I realized I'm also really good connecting people, and then I thought, well, I know a lot of people that are good, and I know a lot of people that need these people. So maybe I can just connect them and help. They can all help each other, and we can also help people. So that's what
Okay.
I'm trying to do.
So I kind of met you in India at this point now.
Mm-hmm.
We were there for about 5 days in India in January.
It was like, well, I was there before, so like
Yeah,
12,
you've
like
done a
12
little bit
days,
of traveling
yeah.
before.
Mm-hmm.
What was next? What have you done between when I met you at the wedding and getting here now?
After India, I think I went to Qatar,
Okay.
and then I think I went to Qatar, and then after Qatar, I went to Malaysia,
Yep.
and then I was in Vietnam, and I was supposed to keep traveling, but I just loved Vietnam, and I stayed.
Where did you live?
I stayed in Hanoi, which is one of the main cities that's in the north of Vietnam. And then I randomly found this place called Cat Ba. It's an island. And people kept talking about it, and I thought it was like a club. Like, what's Cat Ba? And then somebody told me it's an island and you should go. And I actually went there, and it's just incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I fell in love. They have this plankton beach. It just blows your mind. And
Why?
I got stuck. Huh?
What about it?
So they normally close at like 9 p.m. But I would just wait until like 1 a.m. and there was no one. And just go there by myself and just get in the water alone, And you can get in the water and you see like the plankton.
Oh, wow.
Like just, I don't know, like all over your body, and like you see the stars and dragonflies. It just, I don't know. I got stuck there. Yeah, I love it. Then I went back to New York, and now I'm here in London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there a little trip to Spain before you got to London?
Yeah, Barcelona.
Yeah. Good fun there.
Barcelona is awesome, yeah. And then Mallorca. Mallorca is a place that I really love.
Somewhere you could see yourself living?
Yeah, absolutely.
As a Spanish speaker as well, it's quite...
It's not the language. I think it's the island itself. I think it's also like one of those magical places that I've seen.
After London,
Mm-hmm.
you're going back to New York.
I think so, yeah.
What's taking you back there? What's going on?
I have clients there. Well, in
Okay.
New York, New Jersey, Florida, California. So they need me there for meetings and things like this. So I have to go back, make sure they're happy.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they can, just travel again.
Okay. So the clients that you have in New York at the moment, what are you working on with them?
Just different creative things. We do video production, animation. Now we're doing 3D renders, web design, photography, marketing, social media. Basically anything that is marketing and anything creative.
So all of those different kind of services that you're offering, that's not all done just by you in one place.
No.
How does this take place?
So that's the fun thing about this project. So the idea is basically that I get the clients in places where people can afford, a little bit more.
Places like
the US or
Okay.
or Europe, or eventually we're thinking of Australia. But the idea is that we get the clients there. Obviously we have to pay taxes there.
Yeah.
Clearly. But then I'm working with people from different parts of the world, so we all work remote. Just everything's online, and we share responsibilities, and we also share the profit. And since I'm giving them the chance to work for these big companies, then they're also willing to help us out, help people, or create content where we can basically influence people in a positive way. So that's that's the idea. It's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then any other projects you're working on?
We're building an app for marijuana users.
The same group of people, or
some of them, not all of them. Some people are just part of one project. Some other people, they do want to, they want to be part of both. But yeah, there's an app coming up.
Yeah. How long have you been working on that for?
I mean, since I got the name, I guess it's been like a year, maybe a year and a half. But working on it, probably 3 or 4 months.
Okay. So I guess what would be good to know is clearly you have a lot of stuff going on that you're looking to drive yourself. You've created yourself. You've brought a group of people together that you want to work on this with.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that kind of attracts you to wanting to go about life by yourself, creating these things? Is it you don't like the structure of kind of how work should be, that you finish school, take a 9-to-5 job, and you work your way up the corporate ladder? What is it about going the complete opposite way and trying to make a success that you're attracted to?
I always hear these people talking about, you gotta listen to your inner voice, or you gotta listen to your gut feeling, right? And it's easy to say it, but it's really scary to actually try it.
Okay.
And I just kept, reading stories about people who tried it and they, it worked out for them. And then I thought, what's holding me back? I don't have, kids or a wife, where it was the right time for me to just try it. And that's me personally. But I think what really drives me is the fact that I have realized that when you put a lot of people from different parts of the world together, you get different views, different perspectives, different ways to see the world. So you can solve problems better, And the more people that I get from different parts of the planet, the more ideas we get to be more creative.
Yeah.
So I think that drives me. And the fact that now, thanks to technology, we can basically connect with anyone in just one click. Like 1 second, you can talk to anyone anywhere on the planet.
Yeah.
So there's this theory that you're like 6 people away from anyone, right?
Okay.
So if you want to meet, let's say, I don't know, Obama, right?
Yeah.
Then you can think, well, I know this guy who works for the government. He knows the prime minister or whatever, and then he probably knows Obama, right?
Yeah.
So there's like this theory. But then I came up with this idea where I feel like now, because of technology, you really are just 1 click away from anyone and one creative idea away from anyone. So that's my challenge right now. I feel like as a creative group, we need to come up with something really solid, very creative, very well thought, and just use technology to put it out there.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge, and that's what's driving me right now. I think it's a personal challenge. I think I told you this.
Yeah.
Like we have this goal of making 1 viral video, and it's not just one. One is to start. That's the beginning.
Okay.
But that's driving me. That possibility that technology gives you nowadays, plus all these creative people from different parts of the world, and when I see them working together, like sometimes they don't even speak the same language. So like we use English as the common language, and it's interesting just to see how they have to kind of like adapt to cultures, schedules.
Yeah.
And I don't know, when I see it working and finally getting things done, I get more motivated. So I think that's the answer, right?
Yeah, that is the answer.
Okay.
So we were lucky enough to have a wander through London today. I took you to see some of the classic touristy stuff that you can do in London. And we stopped and had a little bit of lunch. Uh-huh. And we got into quite a little heated discussion about social media. And I know you just discussed how you think technology has a real power to offer people, and it can really only take one video or one photo, one connection to really take you to the next level. What do you think social media has done for the world, good or bad?
So it's both, right? Like everything else. I think it's helping a lot of people to wake up, and the fact that we get information so fast through different platforms, right, allows people to spread messages in such an efficient way that you see changes in a week. You know, you see one thing happening right now, in a week the whole planet knows about it.
Yeah.
So that's impressive, and if we use it the right way, it can be very powerful. But at the same time, I feel like the companies that are creating these technologies, they also need to be responsible and understand that there's a lot of side effects, especially psychologically, where they should be responsible, and they should also, just not just give them the channel. They should also teach them, hey, you're overusing it, or you're using it the wrong way.
Right.
And that's where it gets...
There's a bit of a blurry kind of grey area,
really
right?
grey, because then you're like, well, we're making money, so maybe we don't need to teach them. I think that people that are building apps and they're building websites and all these useful tools, they should also tell people, look, this is great, we can all use it, but you should also know that these are the negative sides of this. So I feel like right now it's affecting the way people interact.
Yeah.
So we talked about it. People go to restaurants, they have a date, and they don't really have a date. They just have a date with their phones.
Right.
But
to the world, it looks like they've had a great day.
Yeah,
right?
And they post it and they get the likes and it's like, oh, they're in love and da-da-da. But are they really there? And it's not just dates, like also with friends or families. There's all these memes and photos that you see where you see a grandma having fun with the family and like all the kids just basically just wasting their time on their phones.
Yeah.
Even like in my family, I went back to Costa Rica a few years ago. We had a whole family reunion. And I took a picture of them because they were all on their phones. I'm like, I haven't seen you guys in like a year, and I'm here and you're just on your phones. So I feel like it's a really good way to connect people, but if it's misused, then it also disconnects people. And I feel like right now we have the responsibility to just take that control back, especially with children.
Yeah.
Because we have no control over what they watch, really. Like, and you think just social media, but there's also like everything else, just like websites where they can access information that they maybe they're not ready for.
Yeah.
I think social media can be great if it's used the right way, but right now a lot of people are misusing it, and we should do something about it.
Do you think kind of the stuff that you're working on obviously depends heavily on being able to connect with people around the world? Do you think it's worth the negatives that come with social media to be able to have the opportunities that we have? Do you think that the positives outweigh the negatives?
I think like everything in life has got to be balanced. It can be used in a very good way. Like I said, right now you have a lot of people waking up, right? So now we question what we eat because now we see information online. We question the way we work. We just talked about it.
Yeah.
We don't feel like we need to be in an office from 9 to 5 if we know that we can be more efficient from home or traveling because we get more inspired. Especially people that are creative. Like, I don't want to be in an office. I want to work remote. And if that's not the case, I'm not going to work for your company. So a lot of companies are basically changing because they have to. And in our case right now, the freedom that they have, because we don't really have rules like, hey, you need to be here right now to do this right now. We give them a project. We try to give deadlines, right? Sometimes with the clients it's difficult.
Yeah.
But as long as things get done on time and the deadlines are like we're good with the clients, we don't really need to have someone being watched every single second.
Yeah.
So I feel like that freedom that social media or like just the internet in general gives people opens just possibilities for people to also work on the things that they want to do. I think as a group, we need to promote this freedom where people don't feel like they're trapped or they're slaves. And if they feel part of something, they don't feel like they're being dominated. They just feel like they're part of something. They will be more motivated and they'll bring more ideas, and they'll bring more, I don't know, just in general, just positive things for the project.
Something else I wanted to talk to you about was you were talking about how some of the technology that you had seen where you were working and stuff was actually being used to help mental health.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on technology that could have caused a lot of the mental issues in the first place being used or pitched as something that actually helps solve mental health? You discussed things like virtual reality that was kind of help kind of alter memories and make people look at things a different way that had happened in the past. What's your take on a human being able to help a human versus technology helping a human?
Well, there's this issue that I think we all go through sometimes, where we feel that we are surrounded by people, right? Because you can talk to anyone. Yeah. I mean, in my personal case, right, I can talk to anyone at any time. But if I take myself out of my body, right, and I just zoom out,
yeah,
I'm by myself talking to a phone,
yeah,
and I'm not the only person. So there's a lot of people that are basically just isolated right now, and they don't have any kind of human interaction. So they don't even know how to talk to people. They can text people, and they have a nice conversation when they're texting people. I think we talked about it, but then they don't really know how to interact with people, right?
Yeah.
So technology kind of like just jumps in, and you have apps where people can get help about anxiety, for example.
Right.
I just talked to a friend. She wants me to help her develop something related to anxiety, and it's interesting how technology can help you control it, but at the same time it can also cause anxiety.
Yeah.
Right? And you have, going back to relationships and social media, and you see people going crazy over it, like, you know, what their couples are doing or what their friends are doing, like, oh, they went here, they didn't invite me, and it creates these psychological issues that are big. I mean, we didn't really have them before, you know, like your friends went out with somebody you didn't know, so you didn't care, you just didn't know. Now you feel like you're left out if you're not there where you're supposed to, right? Quote unquote. But then if you use technology with science and art combined, you have a chance to actually do something positive. We think that if you get good humans, you know, people with a good heart, and clever algorithms, or, you know, smart ways to use technology, you can also influence people in a positive way. So when we talk about virtual reality, for example, and I gave you the example of people that went to war, for example. Yeah. I mean, I come from a country where we have no army, as you know. So it's a really difficult topic for me to understand, right? Because when I see people that are so proud about going to the military, I don't get it.
You've never really seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it now in the U.S. Yeah. Like I see friends who go, or they, you know, their grandparents went, but then that leads to a lot of psychological issues. I mean, if you're in a place where people get killed, or like they lose their arms and their legs or their eyes or whatever, it's a trauma, you know? And if you're part of it, there's all these psychological things that will come up later on in life, and if they're not treated the right way, they'll affect not just them, but their families, their friends, and just their social circle in general. That's why you have all these people that just come back after Afghanistan or any countries they go to, and they come back and they kill a lot of people. Yeah. Because they were never treated. So with virtual reality, they're trying to basically change their memories, if I could explain it the simple way, where they can try to transform all those bad memories and with, you know, like recreations of those places. Yeah. Just try to confuse their minds so they can have different memories of it.
So the recollection of those areas are not as dark as they would have been without the help.
Yeah, so I think it's a good use. You know, I don't know if it's the best one, but at least for now it's helping them. So it reduces anxiety, it reduces depression. And what I think is good about it is that instead of using drugs, like I'm talking about legal drugs that are basically just prescriptions that people get and they have to pay for. Instead of doing that, they basically just put goggles, VR, and they go to a place that was recreated. So instead of having really bad memories, they can have, let's say, happy places or happy memories. So I think it's very positive.
One thing we want to ask everyone on One of the Eight is to share something that's inspired them, whether that be music, a book, a film, maybe an event or an individual that you've had in your life. What is it that has inspired you the most recently that's kind of driven you into where you're at now?
I think every day you get inspired by different things. Sometimes people, sometimes book, sometimes a friend, sometimes a quote that you see on a graffiti, a meme. But recently, when we were in India, I photographed this girl, the one that I showed you in the photo. You can share it later.
Okay. Just as a bit of a heads up, this is probably... Alejandro is a very talented man with a camera, and this is probably one of the most powerful photos you're ever going to see. So this will be available to view, but I'll let Alejandro talk a little bit more about the story behind it and kind of why it inspires you every day.
So I went to a place called Dara, which is in Ahmedabad. It's a temple.
Okay.
And I was just walking around, and right before I left, I saw this little girl, and her mom was basically using her as a way to get money.
Right.
So it got my attention, and I got my camera, and I just took a few photos of her, but I didn't really have the time to look at them because I had to go, because my flight was going to leave, and the taxi driver, he's like, we got to go.
Okay.
So I just took the photos and I left. I kept thinking about her, but I didn't really I didn't see the photos until I got home.
Right.
When I got home and I saw a fly on her face, and just the way she has, I don't know, her eyes are just so powerful. Like when you see it, well, you saw a photo. When you see a photo, you connect to it right away.
Yeah.
And lately, every time that I meet someone that I know, they're wealthy.
Yeah.
As soon as I have a chance, I show them the photo.
Okay, why?
Because I feel like they forget about this. It's not part of their reality. And to be honest, it's not part of my reality either. So the reason why this photo just made such a big impact in my life, like I said before, it's because I have a niece that she's basically, she's the love of my life. And I have a photo that is similar, and I thought that could be my niece. And I feel like that moment when you realize that could be someone that you love, or that could be you or your son or your daughter.
That's something terrible you see could happen in your life too.
So that's when it becomes part of your life.
Yeah.
Before that, it's just something that happens to other people, right? So I try to have the photo. I actually had the photo as a background on my phone. So every time that I saw it, it was just a reminder. I gotta do something for this girl. And I've been showing every single person who joins the project. I show them the photo and I tell them, look, this is the goal. It's not to make money, it's to actually make a difference. And we have a plan to do something for this girl. We want to do a documentary. So basically right now we want to, like I told you, we have to be careful how we approach this family.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to get her in trouble or, get her in danger. But it just, every time that I see her eyes, I just think that's my purpose. Like, you gotta do something for this girl. And not just me, because I cannot do anything unless I have people helping out. But I think for me, it's just a reminder that I need to just connect with more people where they're just basically willing to help this girl. And once we help this girl, then we can just replicate the process with other kids, not just kids, like other people. So that's what's motivating me right now. Every time that I feel like, oh, maybe I'm just gonna drop this because it's so much stress and this and that, I think I can't until I do something about this. And it's like fuel every day. Every time that I think about it, I just feel like, okay, keep going. Just, get all the ideas that you can, get as many people as you can, use the connections that you have. And the idea, and that's, part of doing this, is we need people that have money so we can touch their hearts and say, hey, you got really lucky. Honestly, we are really lucky. We don't know what hunger really feels like.
Yeah.
When I grew up, I thought I was poor. I mean, I was poor for what I thought, but I always had a home. I always had food. I was able to go to school. So my poverty has nothing to do with hers.
Right.
And what I have found is that people that were wealthy since they were kids, it's not like they're not mean people. They're not bad people. They just don't know. They haven't experienced this reality. And unless we know, like, if we don't expose them to it, if we don't show them what it feels like, if we don't really tell them, look, this happens right now, today, as you're spending $5,000 on a bag that you don't need, this kid cannot eat. And I feel like now we have to connect with these people. They're not bad people. Yeah. They just don't know.
Yeah.
So we need to connect with them, touch their hearts, and say, hey, let's do something. Let's share. Let's help more people. And that's what we want to do right now.
Awesome. It's fantastic. Just one thing I wanted to touch on there was you said that basically it inspires you because it gives you a purpose. So would you say that for anyone listening that's kind of maybe in a little bit of a rut, maybe they're stuck in a bit of a cycle that they're kind of looking to get out of and they're looking for some kind of inspiration, would you say that it's finding something that gives you purpose that is what inspires you?
I'll be very honest with you. I never understood the word depression, because I thought it was just, BS that you make up in your mind, until I went through it.
Okay.
And I understood that people really, they cannot get themselves out of it just like magic.
Yeah.
And so many bad things went through my head at different times. But I'm not a quitter.
Yeah.
I cannot quit. And it's really easy to just say, you know what, I'm done. And a lot of people do it. But when I realized that I was going through such a bad depression, I needed to do something about it. And I realized that the more I helped, the better I felt.
In yourself?
So, yes. So I think when you help other people, you're actually helping yourself. Which could be selfish if you see it that way.
Yeah.
But if it's selfish and you're helping, it's
the best way to be selfish,
right? Exactly. So for anyone who's looking for a purpose and they feel like they're lost, or maybe they have a job that they hate, or they just don't know what they're doing, or they have so much money that they feel empty and they just start doing drugs and doing all the crazy things that they can, just find one person. You don't need to go and find an organization and just give them money. Go connect with someone. So any person that you want, someone, a homeless person, someone poor, go travel and find someone that you really connect with and help them directly, like make a connection, a human connection. It's really easy to give money to someone, right? If you make $8,000 a month, you can give $100 to someone, and that's nothing, you know? It's pennies, it's like nothing. But if you go and connect with someone and you see how they feel and they talk to you, and you realize they're human, they have feelings, they have families, they have dreams, broken dreams, and you find a way to help them, you find a purpose. So if you feel like your life is going nowhere, that's where you can find something, like you find the light, and then you can get up again, and then you light up again, and you get motivated, and you forget about all your little problems that you thought they were huge problems, and they were nothing. So when you compare yourself to people that have less or people that have nothing, you realize how lucky you are. And that's how you find your purpose. You find the motivation to just go and do something positive. So if you're going through depression, if you have so much money, you don't know what to do with it. If you feel like you're in a better position to help somebody else, just go and do it. Don't trust organizations like where people are making like $500,000 because I'm the CEO of this organization. I'm not gonna say names, but there are many like that.
Yeah.
So go and connect with someone, like directly, create that human interaction and get to know them. Sometimes you don't need to give money. Like some people think, oh, I need to give them money.
Just time, right?
Just
so
time.
A conversation.
Go and sit down with somebody, ask them what happened, how you can help them. Sometimes people just need to learn about technology so they can grow on, on their own. If you see someone struggling and you know something that might help them, just teach them for free. Not everything has to be about money. But when you connect with someone in a deep intellectual, emotional level, you become human again.
There are almost 8 billion people on our planet, and Alejandro Hidalgo is one of the 8. You can find links to Alejandro's work and the things that inspire him online at oneofthe8.com.
Everyone has a story to share. Everyone has something to give. Everyone can inspire. One of the 8 is a movement of real-world people from across the globe, sharing real-life stories, inspiring others, enriching lives, and giving something back. I am, you are, everyone is one of the 8. Now streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Play, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Join the movement at oneofthe8.com.